Good day, and welcome to Hiroshima University's English Podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm Joe.
And I'm Kei.
And today we have the second and final part of our story, The Gift of the Magi,
by O. Henry.
Kei, let's continue our drama by telling everyone about the rest of O. Henry's unique life.
Sounds like a plan.
As you remember, in Part 1, William Porter, about 125 years ago, escaped to the country of Honduras in Central America because the police in Texas wanted to arrest him for embezzlement.
Yes, the police and bank officials believed that he had stolen money while working at a bank.
William Porter lived in Honduras for about 6 months, and during this time he continued writing stories, using various pen names, especially O. Henry. He used a pen name because he wanted to get published, but he also wanted to keep his life secret.
Oh, so that's why he had a pen name. He wanted to get published, but he also wanted to keep his life secret.
Right. While in Honduras, he became friends with a famous train robber named Al Jennings.
What? 電車強盗と友達になった?
Yes, not very good. But suddenly, one day, he heard that his beloved wife in Texas was dying.
Oh.
So, O. Henry returned to Texas to be with his dying wife.
Oh, that was very nice of him.
She died at the age of 29 of tuberculosis.
結核ですね. Very sad.
And O. Henry gave himself up to the police. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison for embezzling about $800 from the bank where he used to work.
800ドル銀行から着服した罰で5年間懲役したそうです。
In the prison, he worked as a pharmacist and had a nice room, not a prison cell.
彼は刑務所の中では、薬剤師として働いていて、住宅事情はかなり快適だったそうですね。
In prison, he continued to write stories using the name O. Henry. Finally, he was released after 3 years because he had behaved well.
模範囚だったので、本当は5年の予定だったんですけど、3年で釈放されました。
He then was reunited with his daughter named Margaret, who was 11 years old at that time.
Oh, how nice.
Margaret, who was mostly raised by her grandparents, was never told that her father had been in prison. She was always told that he had been away on business.
長い間出張に出てたってことにされてたんですね。I see.
O. Henry then moved to New York to be near publishers. And from 1902, he began publishing a lot of stories. He wrote over 300 short stories, especially for the New York World Sunday magazine. And his stories had good humor and unique plot twists.
どんでん返しがすごかったんですね。Unique plot twists.
In 1907, at the age of 44, he married a childhood sweetheart from North Carolina who was also a writer.
Oh, how nice.
But O. Henry was a heavy drinker, and she soon left him. His alcoholism caused big health problems for O. Henry, and he died in 1910 at the age of 47.
Oh, alcoholism. Not good. Hey, Joe, whatever happened to his daughter?
She, too, was a professional writer for a short time, but she died in her 30s of tuberculosis, just like her mother did.
Oh, too bad.
Today, both O. Henry and his daughter are buried in a cemetery in North Carolina.
Joe, besides our story, The Gift of the Magi, can you also tell us about O. Henry's other writings?
Sure. Again, the stories often have humor and surprise endings. He often wrote about ordinary people, such as New York waitresses and policemen, Texas cattle ranchers, and Central American banana plantation owners.
So he wrote about places he had been.
Yes, let me tell you about two of his most famous stories. One is called The Ransom of Red Chief.
赤い州長の身代金。
Two men kidnap a rich 10-year-old boy, but the boy is really bratty and obnoxious.
二人の男性が10歳のお坊ちゃんを誘拐したんですが、そのお坊ちゃんはすっごくやんちゃで生意気だったんですね。
So, finally the bad guys agreed to pay the boy's father to take the kid back. Another famous story, Kei, is called The Cop and the Anthem.
警官と賛美歌。
A New York City homeless person decides to get himself arrested so that he can sleep in a nice jail.
Oh my gosh. ニューヨークでとあるホームレスが快適な刑務所で冬を過ごして眠るためにわざと逮捕されることにしたんですね。
To try to get arrested, he does little bad things such as stealing things, breaking things, and flirting with a prostitute.
To flirt with a prostitute で売春婦とイチャつくってことですね。
But the police do not notice or care. Finally, in front of a church, he hears a beautiful organ which inspires him to be a good person. But, ironically, he is arrested for loitering and is sentenced to 3 months in prison during warm weather.
皮肉なことに彼はよし心を入れ替えようって思った途端に徘徊していた罪で3ヶ月懲役させられたんですね。Bad luck, hey.
Yes, life is tough.
So, Joe, let's get back to our main story.
Yes, everyone, as you remember, Della sold her beautiful long hair so that, as a Christmas present, she could buy a nice chain for her husband's gold watch.
デラは自分の髪の毛を売って得たお金で夫の時計のために、チェーンを買ってあげたんですね。
When Della got home, her intoxication gave way to prudence and reason.
デラが家に着くと彼女の興奮はやや冷めて彼女の分別と理性が頭をもたげていました。
She got out her curling iron.
彼女はヘアアイロンを取り出しました。この時代ヘアアイロンあったんですね。
Turned on the heater and went to work repairing the ravages made by generosity added to love.
でそのヘアアイロンを使って愛に気前の良さを上乗せして生じた被害の跡を修繕する作業に入りました。
Which is always a tremendous task, dear friends, a mammoth task.
とてつもない作業でした。
This is kind of funny too because love causes problems.
Yes, sadly.
Soon, Della had tiny, close-lying curls that made her look wonderfully like a truant schoolboy.
なんかちょっと気だるそうな学生男の子みたいに見えちゃったそうです。
Della looked at herself in the mirror critically and said that her husband, Jim, would say she looked like a Coney Island chorus girl.
なんかジムにコニーアイランドのコーラスガールみたいって思われるかもと思いました。このコニーアイランドはなんかニューヨークのブルックリンの南端の方にある観光地っていうかビーチですね。
She got ready to cook the chops.
Pork chops って豚肉の切り身です。
But Jim was late coming home. She doubled the fob chain in her hand.
彼女は鎖を彼女の手の中で二重にしていました。
Finally, she heard Jim's steps on the stairway down on the first flight.
ここの the first flight は階段の最初の段のことです。
And Della turned white.
彼女は青ざめました。
Della prayed to herself, Please God, make him think I am still pretty.
デラは神様まだ彼が可愛いと思ってくれますようにっていうふうに祈ります。
Della felt sorry for Jim because he was burdened with a family.
デラはジムに申し訳なく思いました。彼は家族を背負っているのですから。
And he needed a new overcoat and didn't own any winter gloves. When Jim saw Della, he stopped, as immovable as a setter at the scent of quail.
うずらの匂いにじっとしている猟犬と同じようにジムは動きませんでした。
And his eyes fixed upon Della.
He stared at her.
She could not read his facial expression, and this fact terrified her.
デラはジムの顔の表情がよく読めなかったので怖かったんです。
He had a peculiar expression on his face, a strange expression. Then Della wriggled off the table.
デラはテーブルを回って、
Jim said laboriously,
laboriously で苦心してということです。
You've cut off your hair. He said this laboriously, as if he had not arrived at the patent fact yet, even after the hardest mental labor.
まるで懸命に頭を働かせても明白な事実にたどり着けないようなありさまでした。
He said it with an air almost of idiocy.
彼はバカになったように言いました。
Della asked Jim to be good to her, for it went for him.
デラはジムのためにやったのだから喜んでと頼みました。
Then Della said,
Maybe the hairs on my head were numbered, but nobody could ever count my love for you. 多分私の髪の毛一本一本は数えられるでしょう。でもあなたへの愛は誰も数えられないわと言いました。
Jim got out of his trance,
彼はハッとして、
and he enfolded his Della.
That means he hugged her.
For 10 seconds, let us regard with discreet scrutiny some inconsequential object in the other direction.
That means they were kissing, so we, the listeners, should look away. 趣を変えたささやかな事柄について控えめに吟味してみましょうかというふうにここでは言われています。
$8 a week or a million a year. What is the difference?
What is the difference? で何が違うっていうのっていうことですね。
The Magi brought valuable gifts, but love was not among them.
東方の賢者は高価な贈り物を持ってきました。でも愛はその中になかった。ここで言うMagi、東方の賢者っていうのはイエス様がお生まれになった時にやってきた賢者たちのことです。
Then O. Henry says, this dark assertion will be illuminated later on.
ここで言った暗いことは後に輝くのです。
Jim drew out a package from his overcoat.
He took out a package.
And he said he did not care about a haircut or a shave. He would always love Della.
Oh, how sweet.
Then he asked her to unwrap his package, and she would understand why she had him going a while at first.
彼女はなぜ彼が最初ああだったのか理解しました。
Her nimble fingers
人差し指ですね。
tore at the string and paper.
She opened the package quickly.
At first, she had an ecstatic scream of joy.
歓喜の叫び ecstatic scream of joy です。
And then, alas, a quick feminine change to hysterical tears and wails.
それからヒステリックな涙と嘆きへと女性らしくすぐ変わってしまったのです。
Necessitating the immediate employment of all the comforting powers of the Lord of the Flat.
急いでそのアパートの主人が必死に慰めなければなりませんでした。
For there lay the combs that Della had worshipped long.
箱の中にはデラがずっと欲しがっていた櫛が入っていたんです。
They were beautiful combs, pure tortoise shell, with jeweled rims.
純粋なべっ甲でできていて宝石で縁取られていました。
Just the shade to wear in the beautiful vanished hair.
消えた美しい髪の毛にぴったりでした。
She had craved and yearned over the combs in the store windows without the least hope of possession.
彼女はお店のショーウィンドウの中の櫛が欲しくてたまらなかったんですけど、手に入れる望みなんてちっとも持ってなかったんですね。
And now the combs were hers, but the tresses,
The long hair,
that should have adorned the coveted ornaments were gone.
でも飾られるべき髪がすでになくなっていたのでした。
But she hugged the combs to her bosom.
彼女は櫛を胸に抱きました。
And at length,
Finally,
She looked up with dim eyes.
霞んだ目で。
Then she leaped like a singed cat.
やけどした猫のように飛び上がりました。
And she eagerly held out her present for him in her palm.
In her hand.
The dull, precious metal of the watch chain seemed to flash with a reflection of her bright and ardent spirit.
貴金属の鈍い光はデラの輝くばかりの熱心な気持ちを反射しているようでした。
And she said, "Isn't it a dandy, Jim?"
A dandy means something good.
Then Della asked for the watch to see how it would look together with the chain. But instead of obeying,
ジムは言葉に従う代わりに
Jim tumbled down on the couch.
カウチにどさりと腰を落とし
And he said, "Let's just keep the presents. They are too nice to use at present."
The presents are too nice to use now.
Then, at the end of the story, O. Henry explains how the Magi brought first to the babe in the manger.
貝羽桶の中にいる巫女 The babe in the manger ですね。
Being wise, their gifts were no doubt wise ones, possibly bearing the privilege of exchange in case of duplication.
彼らの贈り物は疑いようもなく賢く、もし贈り物がダブったりしていたら別の品と交換することもできたでしょう。
Then O. Henry says he has lamely related to you.
オーヘンリーはあえて不十分にあなたたちに関連づけております。
The uneventful chronicle
平凡な物語を
of two people in a flat who most unwisely sacrificed for each other.
愚かにもお互いのために自分を犠牲にした二人。
But in the last word to the wise of these days, let it be said that of all who give gifts, these two were the wisest.
今この頃の賢者たちへの最後の一言として、贈り物をするすべての人たちの中でこの二人は最も賢明だったと言われてあれというふうに言ってます。
Oh, all who give and receive gifts, such as they are the wisest.
贈り物をするすべての人々の中でこの二人が最も賢かったのです。
Everywhere they are wisest. They are the Magi.
世界中のどこであってもこのような人たちこそが賢者なのです。
The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry, Part 2. When Della reached home, her intoxication gave way a little to prudence and reason. She got out her curling iron, sand-lighted the gas, and went to work repairing the ravages made by generosity added to love, which is always a tremendous task, dear friends, a mammoth task. Within 40 minutes, her head was covered with tiny, close-lying curls that made her look wonderfully like a truant schoolboy. She looked at her reflection in the mirror long, carefully, and critically. If Jim doesn't kill me, she said to herself, before he takes a second look at me, he'll say I look like a Coney Island chorus girl. But what could I do? Oh, what could I do with $1.87? At 7 o'clock, the coffee was made and the frying pan was on the back of the stove, hot and ready to cook the chops. Jim was never late. Della doubled the fob chain in her hand and sat on the corner of the table near the door that he always entered. Then she heard his step on the stair away down on the first flight, and she turned white for just a moment. She had a habit for saying little silent prayer about the simplest everyday things, and now she whispered, "Please, God, make him think I am still pretty." The door opened and Jim stepped in and closed it. He looked thin and very serious. Poor fellow, he was only 22. And to be burdened with a family, he needed a new overcoat and he was without gloves. Jim stopped inside the door, as immovable as a setter at the scent of quail. His eyes were fixed upon Della, and there was an expression in them that she could not read, and it terrified her. It was not anger, nor surprise, nor disapproval, nor horror, nor any of the sentiments that she had been prepared for. He simply stared at her fixedly with that peculiar expression on his face. Della wriggled off the table and went for him. "Jim, darling," she cried, "don't look at me that way. I had my hair cut off and sold because I couldn't have lived through Christmas without giving you a present. It'll grow out again. You won't mind, will you? I just had to do it. My hair grows awfully fast. Say, Merry Christmas, Jim, and let's be happy. You don't know what a beautiful, nice gift I've got for you." "You've cut off your hair?" asked Jim, laboriously, as if he had not arrived at that patent fact yet, even after the hardest mental labor. "Cut it off and sold it," said Della. "Don't you like me just as well, anyhow? I'm me without my hair, ain't I?" Jim looked about the room curiously. "You say your hair is gone?" he said, with an air almost of idiocy. "You needn't look for it," said Della. "It's sold, I tell you. Sold and gone, too. It's Christmas Eve, boy. Be good to me, for it went for you. Maybe the hairs of my head were numbered," she went on with sudden serious sweetness. "But nobody could ever count my love for you. Shall I put the chops on, Jim?" Out of his trance, Jim seemed quickly to wake. He enfolded his Della. For 10 seconds, let us regard with discreet scrutiny some inconsequential object in the other direction. $8 a week or $1 million a year. What is the difference? A mathematician or a wit would give you the wrong answer. The Magi brought valuable gifts, but that was not among them. This dark assertion will be illuminated later on. Jim drew a package from his overcoat pocket and threw it upon the table. "Don't make any mistake, Dell," he said, "about me. I don't think there's anything in the way of a haircut or a shave or a shampoo that could make me like my girl any less. But if you'll unwrap that package, you may see why you had me going a while at first." White fingers and nimble tore at the string and paper, and then an ecstatic scream of joy. And then, alas, a quick feminine change to hysterical tears and wails, necessitating the immediate employment of all the comforting powers of the Lord of the Flat. For there lay the combs, the set of combs, side and back, that Della had worshipped long in a Broadway window. Beautiful combs, pure tortoiseshell with jeweled rims, just the shade to wear in the beautiful vanished hair. They were expensive combs, she knew, and her heart had simply craved and yearned over them without the least hope of possession. And now, they were hers, but the tresses that should have adorned the coveted adornments were gone. But she hugged them to her bosom, and at length she was able to look up with dim eyes and a smile and say, "My hair grows so fast, Jim." And then Della leaped up like a little singed cat and cried, "Oh! Oh!" Jim had not yet seen his beautiful present. She held it out to him eagerly upon her open palm. The dull, precious metal seemed to flash with a reflection of her bright and ardent spirit. "Isn't it a dandy, Jim? I hunted all over town to find it. You'll have to look at the time 100 times a day now. Give me your watch. I want to see how it looks on it." Instead of obeying, Jim tumbled down on the couch and put his hands under the back of his head and smiled. "Dell," said he, "let's put our Christmas presents away and keep 'em a while. They're too nice to use just at present. I sold the watch to get the money to buy your combs. And now suppose you put the chops on." The Magi, as you know, were wise men, wonderfully wise men, who brought gifts to the babe in the manger. They invented the art of giving Christmas presents. Being wise, their gifts were no doubt wise ones. possibly bearing the privilege of exchange in case of duplication. And here I have lamely related to you the uneventful chronicle of two foolish children in a flat who most unwisely sacrificed for each other the greatest treasures of their house. But in a last word to the wise of these days, let it be said that of all who give gifts, these two were the wisest. O all who give and receive gifts, such as they are wisest. Everywhere they are wisest. They are the Magi.
Well, everyone, we hope you liked our story.
Yes, in the end, they both gave each other something that the other person could not use.
She got calms, and he got a chain for the watch which he had sold to get the money.
Even though they got things which they couldn't use, they still loved each other.
Oh, how romantic. Oh.
Okay, at the beginning of part 1, I gave you an iPad. Do you still like me?
ちょっとそれはわかんないですけど I don't know.
Everyone, there are a lot of challenging words in the story, but they are all modern words used in conversation today.
So, if you listen to the podcast a few times, we are sure that your vocabulary abilities will improve. Joe, are there any tourist places in America where people can go to learn more about O. Henry?
Yes, let me quickly tell you about 3 places. The best place would be Austin, Texas, where they have the O. Henry Museum in a house where O. Henry lived.
Yes, Austin, Texas is an exciting city, known for its university atmosphere.
Another good place for learning about O. Henry is Greensboro, North Carolina, where O. Henry grew up. The Greensboro Historical Museum has a lot of O. Henry-related things, and there are a couple of statues of him in the town.
Greensboro, North Carolina is also known for its university atmosphere again.
Yes, and the final place which you might visit is Pete's Tavern in New York City. O. Henry lived near this pub restaurant, and he might have even written The Gift of the Magi there.
Oh, cool. It's like Harry Potter. Hey, going to a pub restaurant in New York sounds like fun.
Well, everyone, thanks for listening to our story, and good luck in your English studies.
Yes, keep having fun learning English.
You can do it.